They ask me who I am. Yeah. They ask me who I am. I told them I'm an Israelite. That's right, I'm an Israelite. They ask me where I'm from. I told them you can pick a side. We worldwide, I'm an Israelite. Whether through scripts or history, no, I can show you. In the army of Yahuwah, oh boy, I'm a soldier. Yeah, they ask me who I am, I told them I'm an Israelite. That's right, I'm an Israelite. When I say Israelite, they say you Jewish. Look, don't be foolish. Come get a dose of this mental renewing. See how we brew it, it's just different. Like, for instance, first thing to know, bro, this a culture, no religion. Talking the bloodline, they say we Jacob children. And yeah, that's a factor, but what really matter, how we living. Given that we gotta get Beseda, that mean in order. For that we got that Torah, some brothers we got Basora. Of course, and some don't believe, but that don't matter today. I ain't trying to throw no shade, as long as we all stay anyway. That 613, we coolin' like palm trees. Look up with that, yeah, the fam know what I mean. They ask me who I am, I told them I'm an Israelite. That's right, I'm an Israelite. They ask me where I'm from, I told them you can pick a side. We worldwide, I'm an Israelite. Whether through scripts or history, no, I can show you. In the army of Yahuwah, oh boy, I'm a soldier. Yeah, they ask me who I am, I told them I'm an Israelite. That's right, I'm an Israelite. He said that we the light, got no choice but to shine. By the sweat of your brow, now you see why we grind, how we do, and we move to keep that ruach in our midst. When we eat, I got a list. Wanna build, break out them scripts. We don't hate and we don't diss. We ain't worried about another. He called us his firstborn. You can call us big brother. Look deeper and you'll discover in your movies and shows, truth been exposed. What you know about those captured and sold. The Igbo and the Ashanti. Check out your history, never lost. Ain't gotta find me right where we meant to be. Rebellion led to expulsion. Repentance fix that. God, I get back. I get caught on big facts. They ask me who I am, I told them I'm an Israelite. That's right, I'm an Israelite. They ask me where I'm from, I told them you can pick a side. We worldwide, I'm an Israelite. Whether through scripts or history, no, I can show you. In the army of Yahuwah, oh boy, I'm a soldier. Yeah, they ask me who I am, I told them I'm an Israelite. That's right, I'm an Israelite.
Hey, we ain't saying this our salvation or nothing, but the Most High just put his name on it, so we represent. All praise. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, everyone, and welcome to another segment of Yah Conscience Radio. Well, if it's not conscious, it's not acceptable. ראשית, אני רוצה לתת כבוד ושבח ליוחד אל עליון, אלוהי אברהם, יצחק ויעקב. First, I want to give honor and praise to He that causes to be or exist, the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Let me take there we go. Let me switch it up a little bit. All right. So today is part two of falling away versus walking away, and we are here with Chief Zebulon Ben Lewi Hadekia. Shalom, Chief. How you doing?
Hallelujah. Shalom. All praises to the Most High Yah. It's good, brother.
Hallelujah. Good, man. I'm good. Live and well. Another day. As they say, another dollar.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's what they say, right? Dollar be gone. Get it. Responsibilities.
Man.
But yeah, hope all is well with you. We missed you last week. Made sure I told those that was tuning in, send a prayer out for you and your family, your situation. Hope things are smooth in the best way it possibly can. But I touched base on this topic. Of course, I wanted a part two because definitely want to get your take on this matter. I'll make sure I go over a little bit of what I was speaking on last week for those that didn't tune in and is watching this video for the very first time. So, falling away versus walking away. This topic can be very broad depending upon the subject matter. And the what we're speaking of is concerning the culture, concerning the walk, those that identify or allow their life to be based upon the ancient Near Eastern literature of Israelites. Had to go ahead and do that. So, any thoughts or words as far as this topic? I let them know that we were speaking, and you kind of brought forth this topic, and I thought it was a very interesting way to put it together because we hear that term falling away all the time.
Right.
Oh man, this person's falling away. He fell away. She fell away. Or she's falling away. But never really hearing the term walking away. So what's
Right.
what made you come up with that, side of the coin in regards to this topic?
Yeah, I mean, when you've been in this walk for any extended period of time, especially when you're in this walk outside of social media, in the real world, and I've been in 30 years, whatever, and that's really not a long time when you consider many of the elders that are still living that's been in this walk longer than I've been alive. So there's a lot of people who've been around for a long time. But if you've been around, 10 years, 5, 10 years, 15, 20 years or whatever, one of the things that we've come to understand is that everybody is not built for this walk. And when I say that, I mean that everybody doesn't have the same backstory. Everybody doesn't have the same motivations when it comes to this walk and why they're here. And since everyone has a different backstory and different motivations, they're falling away. If it happens, they're falling away or walking away happens for different reasons. Everybody is not falling away from the truth because they're wicked or they're evil or the spirit of the Most High ain't with them or whatever. These are usually the main talking points that we hear. Oh, the spirit ain't on them, and It's like, well, maybe that's possible. Maybe the spirit's not. But of course, the question is why? Why is the spirit not on them? What causes them? What's causing them to fall away or walk away? And is there even a difference between the two? And how do we know that there's a difference between the two? So these are some of the preliminary steps that we kind of have to take before we even delve into the whys and the whys and the hows. We got to first kind of define these terms, not just biblically, but also from dare I use the term Hebrew, from a Hebrew philosophical standpoint.
Right.
Yeah, I said it.
Right. And of course, we're not going to be able to tackle all of that tonight. Wouldn't have been able to tackle all of that last week and tonight, but hopefully we could get into some of those things. the approach I want to take with it, is similar to some of the things you was bringing out, but might be slightly different too. The approach, because you spoke on us not really knowing the background of these individuals,
Right.
because that plays a part. A lot of people within this walk are they're not born in it, so there's no
Mhm.
culture, no cultural background with this, to make sure that the things within their background before coming on this walk, to make sure those things are, fenced out, not penetrating the cultural
Right.
standard. So since that's not in place, that is something that can play a big part too, of course. But the part that I want to speak on,
Absolutely.
the part that I want to speak on is bringing out a little bit of history in regards to it being choices of individuals, even within the culture, that choose to leave, choose to walk away, and that's one of the
Yes.
points we want to speak on with the walking away versus the falling away. We got to bring that aspect. Shalom,
Mhm.
of ours. We want to bring that aspect in. So I'm going to say a few things I did say last week, kind of to give Chief Zeb some of the points I put out. See if he wants to feed off of it, including with what he has to present as well. So I started off and I went into this book called Egypt: History and Treasures of Ancient Civilization, and I brought this out because it was a connection that I needed to bring out with First Maccabees, because I'm going to show some things at First Maccabees. I'm not going to go through everything that I did go through. Check out the video from last week, but I will hit some key points that I did bring out from First Maccabees. But the part that I want to read in this book, Egypt: History and Treasures of Ancient Civilization, is just the very first introduction. And it says, this book also examines the last centuries of
Right.
the age of pharaohs up to the period of Greek and then Roman control of Egypt. It explores the era in which the pharaoh's culture, so the culture of the pharaoh, the culture that the pharaoh put forth, came into contact and in some cases merged with the Hellenistic and Roman cultures. It does not say was forced. It said it was merged. Now, some could say, well, it was merged because it was forced. That's a
Right.
point that you look at. But was that the case? It didn't say that. It said merged. And that's when I'll bring out, certain aspects within First Maccabee. On this very point right now, what's your thoughts on what I read? Do you have anything?
No, I'm
Is it an echo?
just soaking in right now.
Is it an echo or a delay at all?
It seems like there is a delay.
Okay. Yeah, we got to fix this issue. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to First Maccabees and just read through some of this. And I just want to bring out a couple parts. Okay. First Maccabees 1:11 says, in those days when they're out of Israel, wicked men who persuaded many. So within the camp, I'm not gonna say camp, but within the group, they persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are around about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Okay, this seems kind of similar to, the situation of Mizraim. They left, they were so used to something, they departed. They left. Departed means you're in another region, you're in another area code, you're in another zip code. You're just not at the point that you're at. Departed. Remember that word, you all.
Right.
Departed. Departed is another a synonymous word you could use is you're walking away. You're choosing to. Everything good, Chief?
Absolutely.
Everything cool? All right. So you're choosing to. So I wanted to pinpoint what was said right here. This translation, very good translation. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Okay. Keep that in mind. Verse 12. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. So they went to get permission of it. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. Okay, so I'm not going to read through all these things right here. Let me see. They were king of Egypt, was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. Okay. So I wanted to pinpoint the departing point right there. I don't want to go through all of this again, man. For those that might have those who might have the apocrypha, make sure you read the first Maccabees and also watch what I had spoke on last week in a video before. All right. But I want to jump down to okay, let's go to verse 28. It says the land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all of the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. Okay. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. You know, they was confused. I know they was confused. These, he was changing the whole custom, and then speaking these words to convince them that this was the right way to go. This was the way that they should. This is better than what they were doing. All right. For when they had given his credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore and destroyed much people of Israel. Okay, let's go down. Verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. This is verse 41. Verse 42. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to commandment of the king. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Shabbat. Okay, so they consented to it. Now, at this point, was it force involved? I could say at this point, but this was after convincing them to do it. This was after showing them that this was a better way. And they actually, and what I had read in the beginning, they actually chose to and tried to convince the people to go that route because they preferred that route. Things weren't looking as it was when they was with them before they departed. Departed, walked away, left, chose to leave where they were at. All right. One last thing I want to bring out. I talk to you all about the women, the circumcising and things of that nature and how they fought to maintain it even in death. But we're not going to talk about that part, but that is a very important part for those that's watching right now. I want to jump to chapter 2 and I want to go to verse 18. And this is my last points. So remember, the very first thing I brought out was departing. The title of today is falling away versus walking away. Walking away is a form of departing, leaving. All right. Verse 18. Now, therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment. No, let me go to 17. Then answered the king's officer and said to Mattathias on this wise, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in the city, and strengthened with his sons and brethren. They doing the same thing that was spoken about in chapter 1, verse 30, when he spoke peaceable words. That's what he's doing right now with Mattathias. All right. Verse 18. Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. Yeah, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends. So you could be a part of us. You're gonna be our buddies.
Right.
You're gonna be good. Join us, man. Walk away. Leave, man. Depart that, depart away from that nonsense. All right. Shalom, shalom. Who said that? So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children should be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. This is what Mattathias says. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away, every one from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. Let me stop there. Chief, last week I said this. I said that I think that this was a mistranslation. When it said that it said king's dominion obey him and fall away everyone from the religion of their fathers. I don't think that it should have been fall away. And it's a reason I said that. And I'm gonna bring it out as we go on. I'm gonna bring it out. I think that it shouldn't have been fall away. But let's run with it. The very next thing he said after that, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. What did I say? So the title is falling away versus walking away. Walking away, departing from something is a choice. He just made a choice and say he's going to walk in the covenant of our fathers.
Mm-hmm.
So he's walking in. So if he's walking in the covenant of our fathers, that means he's walking away from something that's against our fathers. He's departing away from something that's not against our fathers, against the Most High, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
I want to stop there because I'm going to bring something out later, because I have, like I said last week in the video, if you all watching this, if you wasn't, then you're going to hear it today. I believe that sound bite, that I won't say doctrine, but that I say sound bite, and there will be a great falling away, which is in the New Testament. I'm gonna bring out why that translation is not good, but the part that I wanted to bring out in verse 11, the first chapter, when it says that we departed from them, that is a great translation. That is a great, better wording, and I think it's very important for the point that we're going to be bringing out. So with that, I yield. Go ahead, Chief, if you have anything I said or anything to add.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and this, again, history doesn't repeat itself. There's the old saying that history doesn't repeat itself. People repeat history. Because we repeat the actions. History is just a linear line. That's kind of redundant, but a line of events, one after the other. It's just events. History doesn't repeat itself. People repeat history. We repeat events. We repeat concepts. Concepts turn into actions, and we repeat the very things that were once done prior. So the things that we see playing out in the book of Maccabees, is relevant to our times for a couple of reasons. Number one, you did see two types of Israelites at that time. You had Israelites who, like you said, made a adamant decision that they were not going to fall away or walk away or whatever from from the truth. They stood by it, and they were willing to put their lives on the line for that. But then you also saw Israelites who, when given opportunity, they would in fact walk away. Mm-hmm. You got to remember, and this kind of leads back to why the Hellenism, the Greek before the Romans, but the Grecian Hellenistic process of reforming people's minds is one of the greatest weapons that the ancient world saw. Because if you remember, prior to the Greeks, all other nations, when they came and they conquered lands, what would they do? They would set up their god
Mm-hmm.
and say, "Here, this is Baal, serve him," or "This is Milcom, serve him," or "This is so and so, serve him." And the Israelites, when they were conquered by these various people, it was very easy for them to make a decision to say, "No, we're not going to serve nothing. It's not going to happen." But with the Greeks were very smooth in how they moved, and we can connect that to the times that we live in now. The Greeks were very smooth because at no point did they force their god on them. They simply said, "What? Hey, you could do what you do, but here's some other options." This is what caused Israelites confusion, because they had never been approached with reason. Every prior to that was the war issue. It was the captor coming in saying, "You will worship this way, and that's it. Here's the God, bow your knee to it." The Israelites had never seen these sideway tactics. And we can, of course, thank Alexander the Greek, with his teachers, Aristotle, and these individuals who told them that, hey, what's better than conquering a land with the sword, conquering a people with their gods. You get to a person's mind, you don't have to worry about the rest of the land. So the people began to make decisions no longer based on, okay, here's the idol. It was now the Greeks offering a way that they could step away from the heaviness of the law. When they saw the wicked out and about living, as they say, living their best life, building gymnasiums, men exercising naked across the street from the temple. When they began to see these things and begin to see the freedom that was involved with that lifestyle, and then they begin to look at their lifestyle and say, well, yeah, all we do is we just keep these laws and we're doing this and this. But look at the nations. They're able to do whatever they want to do. And this is why you had a segment of our people that eventually bowed the knee to the Greeks, because it wasn't a forced bowing. It was, hey, what's better than this? This is some good living. And we see the same concept play out during the time of the New Testament with the whole, the law is a burden. A certain individual comes to free us from that law. And here we are in 2021, and it's the same thing. Why are people falling away or walking away? And it goes right back to, and I'm glad that you brought out the Maccabee scenario, because what is that telling us? It's telling us, like we said earlier, that there's a backstory. People don't just bow the knee to a foreign deity just willy-nilly. There's reasons why they do this, and there's reasons why they don't. There's reasons why Israelites don't bow the knee, no matter what you tell them. So yeah, the Maccabees, that is that book is the beginning of the madness that we live, that we're witnessing today. This is when you begin to see the madness in Israel in that book.
Okay. Good points. Man, for those that's tuning in, shalom, lechem. Appreciate all of you all tuning in. Please communicate with us during this this episode. Let us know if the signal is messing up or anything like that too, because when I watched it last week, the audio was there, things was playing, but it was some choppiness, and I'm not sure what the issue is. I got to figure that part out. I wasn't doing this until the last couple episodes, so but we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. What I want to do is I want to bring out the next song. The first song was Daoud Rahim. I'm an Israelite. I really like that song, man. I feel like that should be the opener. No, we'll see. We'll see. This next song right now that I have for us is Simple by the self-proclaimed G, the GOAT. My brother Maki, John Boy. Shout out to you, man, if you're listening. But here we go. We're going to go ahead and play it.
I don't deal with things that are above my strength at all.
Yeah. Simple, man, I keep it simple, like real simple. Use this living water and go and wash my temple. My body's built for that long road. And all these demons looking for a rental. Hate evil souls, but they love me. 4 drivers is me and 3. And I ain't taking no L's. Plus a slow drive or BMV. God is your money, you making it hard. Revolution of muscle, we making it start. The road can get rough, now you wanna get off. This light is so bright, I can never get lost. You think they can't get it right? Cause they life was so sinful. The best thing I could've ever did in this walk was keep it simple.
I don't deal with things that are above my strength at all, I don't deal with things that are above my strength at all. Simple.
I'm built like to lift 10. I'm staring at like 20 tons. Then realize I ain't gotta lift it. Sirach 3 and verse 21. No shame in my game, fam. That's just not my lane, fam. What you think is deep ain't that deep. You losing your brain, fam. Astrology and numerology. Some things get dumb to me. All I do here is keep the laws, and whatever else it'll come to me. 2 Corinthians 11 and 3. In case foolishness run to me. Proverbs 8 and 8 equals Proverbs 16. That there's a sum to me. Your life never changed. What you gonna do? You still looking for fame? What you not 42? You don't keep it simple, you is simple. That's different from what we trying to do. Cause if it's not 1 John 5:3, then it's Proverbs 1:22.
I don't deal with things that are above my strength at all, I don't deal with things that are above my strength at all. Simple.
I just keep it simple. I wake up in the morning, have my wife make me a cup of simple, a plate of simple, with some simple sauce on the side. So I go on about my simple day, doing my simple things in my simple life. This is real simple, family. We making it hard.
That man said, "My simple."
Gotta keep it simple. I'm very simple.
So that was John Boy. Simple. Good song, man. I wanted to go ahead and play that. But back to what we were speaking of. Chief Zeb brought out that, and I agree with her. That's why I brought out First Maccabees. I think that's a great. I think that is a great thing to understand. I forgot somebody posted something too. Well, somebody said something. I don't know if it was somebody I was speaking with or if I saw it on the post. That if you don't, you know what? I think it was Ion Lex. He was talking with I just lost my train of thought. He was talking with the Mighty Hebrew. There we go. He was talking with the Mighty Hebrew, and he was saying that, and we teach this too, as far as history. If you not
Right.
finding out, learning the history behind whatever you believe in, you're not truly believing in it. Now, there's some truth in that. I think it's a great portion of truth in that. But I also believe that it is it's another side to the coin to that. I think people can believe and just not know, where to go or have a desire to because of what was brought forth. So they have a certain belief. Could be a blind belief, whatever you want to call it. But I do understand his point, and I agree, because in this situation, this topic we're speaking of, if you knew the history and if you knew the pattern of how this continues to go on, and then if you knew the very moment, like you brought out when it changed, no more forcing, no more you gonna sit up here and you gonna serve our guys, no more of that. They start going here with it, get into your mind psychologically, making you decide, hey, go ahead, keep doing what you're doing, like you brought out. But look, we got this too. So your choice. If you knew that history, if you understood how our people really fought to maintain culture, that's another thing I was bringing out earlier when I was like, a lot of us come into this and we have no knowledge of cultural standards, something passed down that's been passed down for hundreds and hundreds of years and things like that. We understand the reason why we spoke on these things. But that plays a part of how easily wanting to give up. You could think of marriage like that too.
Right.
Sometimes it is needed to leave a marriage. I don't care what nobody says. But I will say that the part that's missing is making sure you have done everything before leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that, bringing that right back to this part of the segment, when this falling away versus walking away. So I want to bring something else out, or before I bring something else out, did you have any points or anything you wanted to speak on, or start with a certain point of the conversation, or did you want me to bring out the next part I have?
Yeah, I wanted to definitely start hammering away at the differences between quote unquote walking away versus falling away, and the reasons why. Because again, people assume that when someone either falls or walks away from the truth, that there can only be one reason, and that's because, well, what I'm saying, they got the devil in them. The white man got to their mind, whatever, like that. It's usually the same arguments. Esau done got to you. You know what I'm saying? The Most High is not with you, whatever. And it's way more complicated than that. So, but now bring out bring out what you're gonna bring out.
I think that's gonna segue really good into what I'm gonna bring out. Is gonna probably segue into what you're speaking of, I believe, because if I can show you what I believe, because I can bring out a whole bunch of different doctrines that was formulated from sound bite, I would say scripture and epistles. Sound bite, like no one is righteous from Romans chapter 3. That's a sound bite. I call that a sound bite scripture, a sound bite doctrine. And now the whole world is saying no one is righteous. But yet that'll make the whole Tanakh lies then, if that's the case. But it's a lot of epistles, I should say, like that. And a lot of scripture that's being used like that as well. So what I want to do is I want to go to, what is it? Is it 2 Thessalonians? I don't really have to go to 2 Thessalonians. I know you all know what it is. The 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and it speaks on there will be a great falling away or something at that point, right? But what I want to bring out is that word that is used for falling away. Knowing the words and the definitions and things like that is very important, man. It's very important. I'm not going to be one of those to say, oh, you need to learn how to, parse and things like that, which I don't tell people not to. But all I say is just understand, if you're going to use some of these words, then just know how to navigate or find someone that can help how to navigate, because the definition is not always just that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to operate the way that most people do when I bring this out. So let me share the screen. Share the screen. I shared this last week, but I'm going to do it again for those that's watching now that wasn't here last week, or those that come back. All right. So this word is the word that's used for falling away in 2 Thessalonians, and it is apostasia. Now, Chief, you the historian and well read, more well read than I am. Does this sound familiar to you? And this falling away word in 2 Thessalonians, apostasia? Are you familiar with it yourself?
Absolutely.
All right. Go ahead. Was you about to say something?
Okay. No. I was acknowledging what you were asking.
All right. So apostasia. Let's look at the usage. It says defection, apostasy, revolt. I like that revolt. I know those that's listening in, they understand what a revolt is, right? But let's not stop there. Let's go down here, because I know this is what a lot of people do. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but let's do it the way that you would do it. It says leave. It says depart. A leaving from a previous standing. So it was a question that was asked to me last week about a brother of ours, Isaiah. Spoke with him on the phone too, and I was able to go a little deeper in conversation with him because he had to leave, so he didn't even catch the back side of what I was bringing out. But he was like, well, isn't falling away, walking away kind of be the same or similar? And I said, you know what? I understand that you can look at it like that. I said, but let's look at let's make it logical.
Right.
If you fail right now in your spot, if you just fail, you're going to fall, and you're not going to go anywhere outside of the spot that you just failed. The only thing that's going to happen is you have to, unless you crawl, but I'm not going to bring that part out, is to end up back in the same position that you was at. So falling, you're able to get, and I think me and you talked about this, Chief, and you brought this up, if I'm not mistaken, but you're able to get help. You're able to get pulled up. Here go my arm. Here go my hand. I can help you up. Here go my shoulder. This and that. You're not leaving. You're not departing when you get on a boat, to go to Cuba from Florida or something like that. You're departing. It's a departure. When you get on a plane and you're going from Chicago to New York, you're literally leaving. Right. It's a choice. You're choosing to depart and to go to New York. I'm not falling. I'm departing. I'm leaving. If I'm going, I don't know, 10 blocks away to visit my cousin or a friend or something like that, I'm walking away from a point that I was at. Okay. Those are like basketball. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they do a fall away, fade away. Even in that falling away, you are literally a couple steps away from the location that you were at. You did not leave. You did not choose to fall away in the sense of walking away. This definition is saying that these people, this great falling away. That's why I say I didn't like the translation that was in the first Maccabees. I don't believe that it should have been fall there, but who am I? I'm in 2021. Whoever translated that is a lot, older than me or whatever, but I still stand on what I know. And so this right here, these people, when it says it's going to be a great falling away, it's going to be a great departure away from where people, what a standard was, what people within that custom, what they thought that was great within their culture. People are choosing to leave. They're no longer standing here. How can I prove this? Chief said that history doesn't repeat itself, but people repeat history. That is what happened in First Maccabees. The very first thing that I read to you of First Maccabees, chapter 1, I think it was verse 11. It said departed. They chose to depart. They wanted to go back from where they departed from. This is a choice. So no, I don't believe Second Thessalonians is talking about from a standpoint of falling away. The word itself shouldn't be falling away. It should be something dealing with departing or leaving from, in the sense of choosing to revolt against whatever the standard was. That is what that is. You could correct me if I'm wrong, Chief. I'm gonna let you take it, but I wanted to bring that part out only because it goes into what you're bringing out now. It's not that simple with just, oh, he just fell away. She just fell away. And that, in my opinion, was taken from Thessalonians, Second Thessalonians. You're muted right now, Chief. If you can hear me, you're muted. There you go.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that term, falling away. I mean, it's a popular term because, I mean, obviously, that's, those who follow you utilize the King James Version Bible, and especially if they acknowledge and utilize the Greek scriptures in the latter half of the KJV, they're familiar with that term and they're going to use it as is.
Okay.
But it's interesting because that's precisely the distinction between falling away and walking away. Walking away is a rebellion. You are conscientiously saying, I'm done with this. I'm out. I'm finished. Falling away, okay. and just for the sake of the just for sake of clarity, I like Mishle 24, Proverbs 24:16.
I read that last week, by the way. I forgot to bring that out. Absolutely. Go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, where it says Kishebayi po Sadiq Wakwam Wayarashim Yakashlu Beraka. And we know for a righteous for the righteous falls 7 times and rises up again. But the wicked shall fall into mischief. Now, what's interesting about this text is that the term fall appears twice, but it is not the same Hebrew word. So the first,
man. I didn't even go into the Hebrew, Chief. I love it. I didn't even go into the Hebrew last week. I love that. Go ahead.
And I think it's very important that we understand that when you see grammar shifts of that nature, because remember, this is one person writing this particular verse. They're writing this. Now you got to start wondering, like, why would a person use a completely different word if the meaning is the same? Now we could say, oh, it's synonyms or whatever the case, but come on. Synonyms usually mean, it means exactly what it is. They're words, 2 different words that mean the same thing, but these 2 words don't mean the same thing. The first word, the first time it says when a righteous one, or when the righteous falls, they use the term yipol, which is, of course, derived from nafal, which literally means to fall. Like you trip, you fell, whatever the case may be. It's the standard term.
In that same area too, right?
right. So when the righteous one will fall 7 times. This is a simple fall. It's a stumble. Like, whatever. But then what does it say? It says that he gets up. He rises up again. So it's a fall, but immediately gets back up. But then it goes on to say, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. And in the text it says, Urishakim Yikoshlu, Yikashlu from Kashal. This is a different type of fall. This fall implies that from the root, it implies that the legs are weak.
Mm.
Legs are weak. Let me pull up some more definition on it. I'm trying to keep it very simple.
Right.
We had the song playing.
Simple.
Try to keep it very simple. Yeah. But what's interesting, that of course it means to stumble, to totter, to be feeble, to make weak, feeble. So when you start talking about falling in the sense of nafal or yipol,
Mm-hmm.
when you fall, you can have strong. I mean, think about it. You have people who are in very good shape that can still trip over something. It doesn't mean they're weak. It means that they didn't see something. Something was on the ground. They didn't see it. They tripped. They fell, but they got back up.
That's right.
But the second usage implies that the person was already weak. So it says when they fall, and it's a completely different word. When they fall, it says they fall into what? Into mischief. So there is no return for them. They're going in the opposite direction. So you understand that their fall is not a mistake. It wasn't an oversight. This was a deliberate fall. But of course, the KJV translators, for whatever reasons, and we're not going to get into the reasoning behind why they translate the way they do, but
right.
Just to say, it's obvious that those two terms should not say fall, because there's something completely different going on here. Now, with that said, consider today, in the here and now, when someone falls away from the truth or walks away, I always make that distinction of when a person falls away, it means that they ran into something that was confusing. They might have heard a doctrine that kind of rattled their cage a little bit, and they're a little confused on it, like, oh, wait a minute, I never, and they don't really know where to go with this information. So that's fine. That's okay. That's, it's okay to fall in that way. That's the righteous man who falls 7 times, but he rises again. So the person kind of fell, stumbled on something, but what do? They go to their Strong's Concordance. They go to their Brown Driver Briggs lexicon. They go to all of the tools that they have at their disposal to figure out where this fall happened so that they can rise up out of it.
That's right.
But there's another type of Hebrew who walks away from the truth, and you understand that people will look at it and say, well, why did they fall? From experience, I've come to look at it this way, Aki, and everyone listening, that when a person walks away, that deliberately they just walk away, if you're confused about why they walked away, if you're confused, whether it's because the Spirit of the Most High ain't with them, or a doctrine kind of threw them off, or whatever, if you're not sure, this is how you can tell if a person walked away or they fell. Look at the outcome. Look at the what they call it, the aftermath of their departure.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the aftermath of their departure, because that will tell you everything that you need to know as to why they walked away and what was the reasoning behind. So, for instance, person walks away, or walks away from the truth. They'd be like, "Oh, he fell away from the truth." And right now, I'm going to use the term, using the term falling away, that how most Israelites use it.
Right.
So they'll say, "Oh, this brother fell away. Oh, he fell away from the truth. Oh man, he, I don't know what's going on with the brother, what's going on with the sister, whatever." But after that fall, or whatever, don't worry about the fall. wait a couple weeks, wait a few months, and then observe what they're doing. So, for instance, I've known people who've left the Torah, who've left this walk, and when you see them again, they're now Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the type of people that I look and say, you know what? Although they're in a different theology at this point, but those are the type of individuals that I can respect because you see what the aftermath was. The aftermath is what? They are searching for truth. Now, them leaving the Torah is a problem, but if you look at what they're doing, they're still in theology. They're still trying to figure out and try to find what works for them from that standpoint. So even though we disagree with the move, but you can see what the intent was. The intent is that they're trying to find a way to God, and I'll use that term loosely, a way to God. And for that, we commend them because you see what their movement is for. They're trying to find God, and this God, and the God as it is given in the Torah apparently didn't work for them, but they're still searching for God. But then there's another type of Hebrew who departs, and then when you see them, they're back in the street.
Yep.
They're eating pork again. They eating shellfish. They done shaved their beards. They done shaved their hair. Fringes are out the window, and they are living a life that is no different than the average urbanite / African American. They've gone back into the world. That's when you know that, oh, okay, you didn't fall. You conscientiously walked away because the Torah became too heavy for your back, and you wanted to go back to the life that you once lived.
Yep.
Those are the individuals that I say walk away. They've walked away because this was all conscientiously. They did it knowing that, you know what? I'm not trying to wear fringes. I ain't trying to keep no dietary law. I ain't trying to keep no Pesach. I ain't trying to do any of that. I'm trying to get back out there in the world, and I'm trying to do me. I'm living my life. These are the reasonings why people fall. So some people fall away, you know what I'm saying, trying to find that which is God. For whatever reasons, they didn't find it in Torah. They decided to go elsewhere, but at least you know what their intent is. Their intent is to find God. So if whether they're Muslim or they go into some other theology, whatever, we may not agree with that theology, but at least we know that the intent of what they're trying to do is at least commendable. Yeah. In that sense. And I want to be careful because I don't want nobody thinking that I'm supposed to.
I was as you were saying, I'm like, man, you know how people gonna be like, Chief, you a chief man. What you telling these people to lead? That ain't what he doing, you all.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not.
The intent is still there to serve and to get as close to the Most High as possible. Would we consider that a fall? I believe Chief would consider it a fall, but I wouldn't consider that a walking away, because the key things that he brought out, if you was listening, he said somebody that's walk away is choosing to just change their whole lifestyle completely too. The way they eat,
right?
The way they dress, all of the above. So granted, depending on the theology that this person goes to,
right.
That might be the case too. I just thought about that as I was speaking. But it's about intent too. We see that throughout the text, throughout our literature, our scripture, within the Tanakh. You see that intent is a big narrative that's pushed and seen if sought out within your study. I want to pause right there. Bring out another song. Next song that we're going to be playing, and I just noticed I have not been sharing the banners, but I told you what that last song was. So this next song is Mercy. I might have played it 3-4 weeks ago. I'm not sure, man, but I'm playing it again, man. This is by Zamir. I'm really digging this song. and then we go get into some Yehudi gang. Here we go with Zamir. It's called Mercy.
Yes, yeah. Said your greatness is forever. You're infinitely clever. Your mercy is my life. Without it, I would die. You get all of my reverence. You get all of my praise. When I just felt down, when I didn't have nothing left, I was broken deep within. Try my best to cover it, yeah. I'll be how you give me strength. I'll be how you give me strength, yeah, yeah. Said your mercy is forever. You're infinitely clever. Your mercy is my life. Without it, I would die. Said your mercy is forever. You're infinitely clever. Your mercy is my life. Without it, I would die. Said seal on this word. I said seal on. Without it, I would die. I'll be out put my trust in you. I'll be out put my trust in you. I'll be out put my trust in you. I'll be out, yeah. Said your mercy is forever. It endureth forever. When I should have been dead, but you showed your mercy on me, and you poured your blessing on me, and you poured all your love on me, and you poured all your truth on me, and you set me free. Yeah. Your truth set me free. What would I be? What would I go if I didn't have you, Abba? Yeah.
That was Zamir, R&B and the truth. R&B singing the truth.
That's a mean track.
Throughout this time, me being in this walk in the last 10 years, man, I think I probably only know of like 3 R&B singers within the truth, man. And you know, that's in me. Anywho,
that's a mean song.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that Mercy is something else, man. He got a few of them. I'm gonna play some of them as we continue. He got a few of them. I'm digging them. You know, I might have to shoot out a message or something. Get a hold of them, do a song or something. But
right.
You know, I don't. Man, I be having my moves. Like, do I want to do? Do I want to keep singing or not? I don't know, man. But anywho, it was something that you were saying. You had said about the watching the aftermath of how the individual moves.
Indeed.
And you know, maybe I'll play this. Probably when the video posts, I probably just need to know what I need to put on my YouTube. But remember the conversation we was talking about? It was an ex Sakari member.
Right.
And I kind of want to get your thoughts on this situation. So maybe I'll play a few minutes of the things that he was saying and the questions that was being asked to him. But one of the things that really got to me, though, before I even go to it, it was an ex-Sakari member. He's not a Sakari member anymore, but he's getting questioned by, what is dude's name again? Coke Malone?
No Cap.
Oh, Vocab Below, my bad. He's been questioned by Vocab Malone, man, and man, if I tell you, me and Chief actually, interestingly enough, have a backstory about Vocab Malone, man, but I ain't gonna get into that. So, anywho, we're gonna play it, but it was a question that was asked. I forgot what the question was, but I know the ex-Sakari member started talking about the name Sakari. And
Right.
with talking about the name Sakari, he was like, and what's crazy is, I don't know why they called themselves Sakari. Sakari was assassins and stuff. Like, I'm listening like, what? I said, oh, okay. Even if they were, according to what you're saying, right? The very person you're speaking with is within Christianity. I don't knock people in Christianity. I got family members in Christianity. There's actually some great people within in their religion. You know what I'm saying? But my point is, very person you're talking to is a part of Christianity, and that's the biggest assassin group as far as religious when it comes to religion. There is. What point are you trying to make with that? But anywho, some of you that's listening probably, okay,
Right.
what are you getting at? Go ahead, Chief. You was about to say something to that.
Oh no, I get it. I mean, and when you hear stuff like that, when you hear narratives like that, you immediately have to understand that's agent talk.
Yes, sir.
That's the talk of an agent. So, for instance, when you hear someone say things like you hear Hebrews, and this is another talking point that they'll use. They'll say, "Oh, well, the Black Hebrew Israelites is a cult," and when you be like, "Well, cult." Once you hear terms like cult, you understand that, okay, this is not a Hebrew saying this. It might be a Hebrew face vocalizing it, but that's not a Hebrew saying it. That is someone behind them. This Hebrew is Pinocchio, and Geppetto is somewhere in the background moving his lips, but this is somebody else's type of talk. This is not the talk of someone who is just leaving the organization. If you've been rocking with an organization for any extended period of time, you don't switch off the understanding just like that and automatically go to some other understanding. That's too soon of a switch.
Yep.
Which tells me that
Go ahead.
the person probably had always believed this, and then that leads to the question of, well, if this person had already believed this stuff, then what was he doing among Sakari to begin with?
Yes. Okay. And that goes into some of the points we was bringing out as far as the background, what level they at. When I play this, I kind of want to get your thoughts as to, just your thoughts in the situation in general. I don't think I'm gonna play a lot of it, but I'm gonna play maybe a couple minutes of it. I don't even know what to start, man, to be honest with you. Man, I'm gonna go back to
we probably have to get some sound bites.
Yeah, I should have went through it and had some sound bites, but this was one of those things. Like, you know what? I just want to bring a little bit, let it be seen
Right.
and leave, because it's like we know where it's going. I kind of just want to get people to see our thoughts when it comes to the walking away versus the falling away. And I hope he'll say, I hope I bring out the parts that he said when, he still was saying Most High and things like that. He asked him a question, I believe, like, well, do you still identify with an Israelite? So let's see if he's going to bring this, if he's going to say it. Let me see.
Different. GMS, completely different. Everybody.
Okay, let's
garner salvation. No, in no stretch form of the imagination.
Oh, I go to answer right there to the question. Hold on 1 second.
So you'd still hold.
There we go. Let's start here.
You go from Darby to Hakah, man.
I know, right? I know. And Darby will get you. I like Darby though. He get you together on some spiritual things. Bring out some interesting stuff. I like it.
The people who are watching this, who are Hebrew Israelites, they're gonna want to know: do you still think that you are an Israelite?
Yeah, I subscribe to. I wouldn't put myself in the tribe or nothing like that. But like, far as some of the things that I seen, I do subscribe to being an Israelite. Do I believe an Israelite matters regarding salvation? No, in no stretch form of the imagination. Do I feel like that matters regarding salvation?
So you'd still hold that you're a Hebrew Israelite, but you don't know which tribe. So that means you don't hold to the 12 tribes chart.
Oh no, that's garbage. 12 tribes chart is complete trash. Garbage.
Well, why do you say that?
Well, when I was in the camp, when I was in the Sakari camp, we had to do a 12 tribes chart breakdown. Right? Why do we have to do a 12 tribes breakdown? Because if you are a soldier in the camp, you can't not be. You have to be fit to teach that chart. So you have to know the breakdowns. So when we were going through the breakdowns, like when we had to do homework because it was a test. So as me doing the homework, I had to figure out who was what tribe and what. So I did all my own research, and I can only find 4 tribes. And that was only because Sakari only had 4 tribes that they actually broke down.
So you don't think Sakari really has a thorough breakdown of the 12 tribes chart?
Hell nah. I'm gonna tell you right now. Excuse my language. Heck no. If you go, like, they got videos like 4 hours long, 5 hour long videos, and it'd be labeled 12 tribes chart breakdown. But the majority of that is them just laughing.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there because I want to bring out a few points. So I'm gonna probably fast forward a little bit and try to find the points. But he identified. He said he still identifies with being an Israelite. He said something about the charts. Okay, cool. Thus far, what's your take on it so far? Do I need to bring out a little more for you to digest in order to bring out your thoughts on the video itself? Because I could keep going. I have a few more points if I could find it to let him talk about. You still there, Chief?
No, right. I had already seen clips of this video already.
Oh, okay.
So just kind of skimming through, kind of getting, trying to get the gist of because I already know what Vocab Malone, what his agenda is. His agenda is very clear, so we don't really have to get too far into that. But unfortunately, and maybe I'll save this for later when we get further into it. But I find it very like with the 12 tribe breakdown. Like now, I don't subscribe to the 12 tribe chart in the sense of how it's broke down. But I will say this though about the 12 tribe breakdown is that they have the breakdown. There's no such thing as an Israelite who comes out of a camp that has its origin in ISUPK that doesn't have the breakdown of all 12 tribes. I have the entire 12 tribe breakdown in my, it's a whole pamphlet, is the entire 12 tribe breakdown. All of the evidence, all of the scriptures, all of the secular books, everything from Viscount Kingsburg to Antonio Montesino, all of these different. So to say that, now mind you, I'm not part of Sakari, so I don't know what the ins and outs and the going ons every day in that particular camp. But if they derive, but if Sakari derives from a camp that derived from ISUPK roots, then I find it very difficult to believe that they don't have the entire breakdown.
Yeah, yeah. I was when he was interviewing him, I'm gonna probably bring out 2 more clips and we gonna do away with this. He was saying things, he was kind of shaky in my opinion. I was watching some of the comments, the live comments, and it was somebody, I guess, part of Sakari. He was like, dude, what is dude talking about? You know, this is not true or something. And you kind of saw him shuffle with it. So it's like when from my point of view, and I'm not there, so I don't know. I was looking at it like, okay, what is the true point of what took place? Because that's always a question too. Like, I know you brought out, don't really focus on that part, focus on the outcome, and I agree with that. But for him to do this, what took place for you to make this move? How deep were you in this in Sakari? Were you not getting where you wanted to be, and then you decided, I'm done with it? I'm not saying that's the case, but it's so many different variables that could have took place. Because for you not to have this knowledge, like you said, if you in there, you're going to have this knowledge. And he said today, he said he had to research it himself or something. I think, I don't know. Let me play a couple more clips and then we're going to do away with it. I just want to, not a clips, but 2 more parts within it. Because it's a point to this. Those that's watching, it's a point to this, because I want to go into the as far as this situation, because this is part of the walking away too. This is part of it, in my opinion. All right, so this is the 9-minute mark. Let's go. I don't know. Let's try to see what 10-minute mark.
They use what else they use besides Genesis 49? Do you know?
Deuteronomy 33, I believe.
Okay. Have you ever heard where they sometimes say in regards to Issachar that it speaks of burden, specific about the Chicago branch?
Yeah, the Chicago branch. The weirdest stuff that I've seen go on is one day we had a Sabbath day.
Okay, so granted, I think at this point he's asking what's the weirdest thing that done took place or something like that. This man is giving dirt at this point. Now, I think when me and you was talking, you had said to me, you was like, it's one thing to leave, but to be trying to give dirt. Go ahead, speak on that. That's kind of why I want to go with this, Chief. Speak on that. What's your thoughts on that? And that's what's going right. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me play a little bit of it just so people could see, and then I'll let you speak play about 40 seconds of it.
And
or a minute.
The sun had not gone down, and the officer Tassapine suggested that we buy and sell and get some food. And I had a problem with that. I was like, dude, the Sabbath is still up. What's going on? And he said, well, how do you think Deacon Hakah and Alazar eat on the Sabbath day when the sun hasn't went down? I said, bro, I don't be around him. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, he goes and said, well, yeah, we're all high priests under Christ. And I thought, in my mind, logic comes to me and like, well, why are we keeping the Sabbath if we're all high priests and Christ and we can just go buy and sell on the Sabbath anyway? Does it make sense? So if he's talking about, so that's something unsavory to me that was happening in Chicago, one of the Chicago branches. You got in-house, they teach that they can break the Sabbath and don't have to keep it. And online, publicly, they're teaching people that they actually have to keep the Sabbath. So that's a little weird to me.
I'm going to stop right there, man. I think that's enough. I had enough. It's some more stuff, but, I'm going to go ahead. You're muted right now, too, Chief, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, again, we could play the entire video and the words might change, but it's the same sentiment. And as I was listening to that part, it rang the same way as the other clips that I saw when you first had brought it to my attention in Telegram. So and I realized that, again, if you're going to walk away for whatever reason, whatever your reasons, whatever your backstory and motivations, because we spoke about this before about what some of the main reasons why people walk away from the truth as it is. Some of it is because, again, they have weak backs. They're not built for this walk. This walk is for soldiers. This walk is for mighty men. So and everybody's not like that. It's just like when the Torah says, you know, when you go out to war, you know, if you have men who have, you know what I'm saying, who have a shaky heart, and you would have, don't let them go. No, you're not. No. Go back home. Send that man home, because he's not built for this. Doesn't mean he's not an Israelite. It just means that you're not built for this level of work. So we understand that that everybody, doesn't have the stomach for this. Some people walk away because they, it's a hierarchy thing. They may have been in a camp for X amount of years, and for whatever reason, they haven't been given a title. They haven't been given any position of any repute, in the camp. So they start feeling some kind of way about the situation, and they feel like, hey, if I can't be somebody in this camp, if I can't have the title of chief or prince or priest or bishop or whatever the title, if I can't have that, they'll do two things. They'll either go and start their own camp, or they'll defect from the camp and just go off and but the point is that they'll defect. They'll just leave the camp and have no more dealings with him. And this is what we're kind of seeing here. But the difference with this situation is that you defected from whatever your reasons, whatever's going on among Sakari, that's their business. I don't know the ins and outs of it, say nay or yay to what's happening in there. But you defected. It should have been cool. Defected. And if you wanted to talk about it, could have went on Maccabees TV and talked about it. You could have went on Ron Shields' platform or any other Hebrew platform, but you chose to go on the platform of one of the enemies of the Hebrew Israelite paradigm.
Exactly.
Why would you go to vote, of all people? I mean, the only thing worse than that is him getting on the show with what's the guy's name? What's the name? The dude White.
I know you're talking about James White.
James White. That's probably been the only thing worse than is to get on the show with him. So
that's who Vocab learned from or try to mimic. When I remember when Vocab first started, that was his mentor, in my opinion. That's what I was seeing.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you. I mean, but that's my point, is that the first thing that you do after you defect is you go to the enemies of Israel.
Because literally trying to destroy the movement.
Right. So now we understand. So when people, and again, this is why I say pay attention to the aftermath. Because we could always say, like, let's say he didn't do the video, do that with, and he defected. People could have easily been like, oh, something happened, maybe something happened in Sakari or whatever, and and it wouldn't have been fine yet, but we would have been like, okay, hey, he's entitled to depart if he wants to depart, whatever. It wouldn't have been that big of a deal. It would just be like, okay, well, But the first thing that you decide to do is go to the enemies. Think about that. Think about in any other scenario. Let's take it on the street level. Let's say you are on the block and you're hustling. You know what I'm saying? You got your team. You know what I'm saying? Y'all out there getting that work, getting that bread. And one of them doesn't like how the bread is being distributed. And instead of just taking his money and saying, yo, you know what? I'm just going to go and, I ain't rocking with these dudes. I'm going to go over here down on this block and I'm going to hustle over here and do my thing. Rather than that, what would happen if one of those, that individual decides that they want to go down to the precinct, to the local precinct, and tell the cops, so-and-so, they up on here doing this. I'll tell you where the stash is at. I'll tell you where they got the guns at, whatever like that. What would we call that person? Among other things, a snitch. And I mean a snitch in a bad way. You know what I'm saying? Because you're in the street and you're part of that lifestyle. And the first is you go to the police. People would say, no, you are an informant.
Right.
Because why would that be the first place you go? Most people, when they're not getting right, you know what I'm saying, by putting, you know what I'm saying, putting packages in their hand, the first thing they do is what? They take their money and they go and find themselves a connect, and then they go do their own thing. They don't call the police on, you know what I'm saying, on the dude they were rocking with, because that makes, you know what I'm saying, that makes you an agent. That makes you, you see what I'm saying? So in the same sense, the first thing that you decide to do is to go to Vocab Malone and not just talk about Israelite doctrine in that sense, but you're speaking as if you're trying to destroy, like you said, trying to destroy the reputation of Sakari. They're trying to destroy the reputation of this Hebrew. And that in itself lets me know that just based on what I'm seeing, and I'm just going to say it that way, just based on what I'm seeing in the video, this guy may have been an agent. Right. You can tell even by the way that when Vocab is asking him, clear questions about, okay, other than Genesis 49, where else do you go for the 12 tribes? He said Deuteronomy 33. And you're like, and you can listen and you can tell by the way that he's explaining that he really doesn't know a lot. Because somebody who's been in this walk and they move in that walk, they don't stutter on the 12 tribe chart breakdowns. They don't stutter on Deuteronomy 28. They don't stutter on Leviticus 11. They don't stutter on certain things. It's almost as if he hasn't been there very long, and now he's already defected. But maybe that's what it was. Maybe he was sent in there for a purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'll say that, maybe.
Yeah, all of it is just
video, man.
All of it is just and then at the very end, or the part that I was on, I don't think I watched the whole thing. Last thing I'm gonna say about this, because it's not even worth really talking about, but it's worth for this particular specific or particular topic. And I needed to bring that part out too, because that's one of the aftermaths that Chief was speaking on that I believe we need to look at too. That is a true walking away. And granted, no, I don't even want to take up for the man, but I just want to say, no, I'm not going to take up for him. Never mind. I'm not even going to say this nonsense. But I know Vocab was like, saying that they're going to make this a constant thing. They're going to come on the show. They're going to be bringing this out and asking these specific questions. And he's been doing this for a minute. But one of the things that you said that I agree with is, if you have this or this agreement and you don't feel like you can go forward, okay, and you still believe you still a Israelite, as he said, then either do one or two things, man. Find someone else or continue studying and growing, man.
Right.
So that's what. Go ahead.
No, and I was just gonna say that kind of goes to something, because I know you're going to play some music. So I'm going to keep this very brief. That goes into something else that I've discussed many times over the years, and that is about the three type of Hebrew Israelites. There's three types of Hebrew Israelites when it comes to this truth. I don't know. I think we've had this discussion before, but there's three of them. You have the truth seeker. And we all, what I'm saying, we all know about truth acceptor, and then you got the truth opportunist. Now we already know what the truth seeker is, but let me just, I just have my notes pulled up quick. I'm just gonna read it. The truth seeker. These are individuals who knew from an early age that something wasn't quite right. They felt that even though they were Muslim, Christian, 5%, etc., there was more to their existence than what was currently accepted. They searched for the truth, found it, and modified their lives accordingly because it is truth. That's the truth seeker. Then you have the truth acceptor. The truth acceptor unlike the truth seeker, the truth acceptor did not search for the truth. They were quite comfortable in their ways. They were approached by conscious Hebrew Israelites and bombarded with the facts concerning the true history of their people. The truth acceptor accepts the truth, not because it is true, because they cannot refute or argue against it.
Right.
And they will ride this truth until something else comes along to free them from the responsibility of it. That's the truth acceptor. The truth opportunist. This is a very interesting type of Israelite, since they borderline clinical narcissism. These individuals possess elements of insecurities and low self-esteem due to a plethora of reasons. These individuals typically get involved with the truth for the sense of power. While truth is supposed to empower people, opportunists use this power in malevolent ways, such as lording their knowledge over others while giving the impression that no one else but them has this knowledge or power. They exhibit a God complex with their people because they are unable to do so with their captors. Which one are you?
Truth seeker all day.
But most Israelites fall, and when I say, let me not say fall, but let me not say most, significant portion, in all respect, the Honorable Ben Ami Ben Israel, because I actually learned that from listening to him. He'll say, I'm not going to say the majority, I'm going to say a significant portion of our people. But I think that a significant portion of our people fall in the second category, the truth acceptors. They accept the truth, not because it is truth, but because they can't refute or argue against it. And they'll ride that truth until something else comes along that frees them from the responsibility of it. This is one of the reasons why when you see people defect from an Israel camp, you most of the time you don't see them go set up their own camp or whatever. You see them go back into the world. And there's and again, the reason for that is because they never wanted to leave to begin. But some brother with a beard and a turban came along, you know what I'm saying, threw him 1,000,001 precepts, you know what I'm saying, and bombarded them. They couldn't argue against it. So it was like, well, I can't argue against it. So yeah, I'll do this. And then all it takes is for someone to come along and say, hey, yeah, you know that scripture, that precept, that precept is wrong. They've been teaching you wrong. And you have some people that look at that and be like, oh, word, all right, well, they'll figure out what it really means, and then they'll move on with their understanding. They'll say they'll make the modification, and they'll keep it pushing in this walk. Some of them say a significant portion of them will stand and be like, oh, see, I know it wasn't truth. And they end up like brothers like them. They'll go pop up on Donahue or Vocab Malone's platforms and will speak ill against their people and calling themselves airing out, all of the deep, dark happenings and going-ons of the camp. That's horrible. I mean, so either this person is just a really morally reprehensible brother, or maybe he might have been sent in amongst the carpet. Maybe he's just an agent.
Yes, sir. For those that's listening, man. Right. So for those that's listening, man, get your pen, get your paper, get your pencil, get your paper, man. Write it down, put it in your phone or your notes. Are you a truth seeker? Are you a truth acceptor? Or are you a truth opportunist? Go ahead and think about it for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and play the next song, man. And it is by none other than Yehudi Gang. Of course. We got The Rebirth by Maccabee Ben Yisrael featuring Memo.
I gotta show the time where to go, so I seek to find the path filthy right. I follow your
I
way.
gotta go. The future waiting on me. I gotta show. The path that they should follow. I gotta know. It's pain, but joy tomorrow. Try to stay patient, but time beyond us borrowed. I gotta go where it's safe for you and me. Work out the debt like the years of Jubilee. So many battles, we need immunity. With so many threats, we need the unity. I police the police, no hesitation. I uplift the homie, no degradation. I separated that from segregation. I'm ready to take it back like the Haitian, but I gotta find peace of mind. Ayy, I'm golden, I got to be refined. Ayy, I'm chosen, I got to lead the line. Open your eyes, read between the lines. Ayy, they scheming, they thieving, they shooting, kill us for no reason. They poison the food and water. Now I'm thinking they don't really want us here, but they need us. We fighting for freedom, free on the free earth. But now we truly know what we were, and they about to see it in reverse. Mentally dead, this is the rebirth. Eyes to the blind, feet to the lame. Still trying to find keys to the chain. The jail is really real, we in the flame. Temporary highs, easing the pain. Ain't nobody safe, so let's pray. That the Most High is with us today. And if you feeling lost, and I know the way, follow me, don't go astray, cause I gotta go.
I gotta show the line where to go. So I seek to find the path of the right. I follow your way. I gotta show the line where to go. So I seek to find the path of the right. I follow your way.
Everybody got a brain, not everybody choose to think like you. I'm gonna keep coming with that water. One day you gonna have to drink the mind. We have to follow our mind or follow our heart. We don't know the time. We don't know the day or the time. Just stay on the arc. I'm picking you up if you stumble. Stay humble. Got more than my head to carry. So I jungle. I jump out the zoo. The king of the jungle. We out on the side. Your kingdom about to crumble. As long as I'm breathing, I'm achieving. First I had to follow. Now I'm leading. I sit back and listen. Now I'm speaking, crying aloud to the one still sleeping. To wake up. Follow me out on the way to go. Serve it to King. Unstoppable, maybe so. Might should end up on your radio. Positive vibes. We need a daily dose. Elevate. Fantasy to watch it vegetate. It's a spiritual battle, so meditate. Rocking the burdens like this is the 7-day whoa. Listen, you faking, you pose. It's trying to take over the globe. Impersonating the real men and women y'all chose, but we got next, we got now, we progress. They like how we got us and we got y'all. We don't need the safer routes, we just gotta go.
The path of the righteous is uprightness. For upright one, you wear the curse of the righteous. Follow your way. Lead me in the path of righteousness. I'll follow your way. Yeah. I'll follow your way.
Yehudi Gang. That was The Rebirth by Maccabee Ben Yisrael featuring Memo Martinez. All right. Hey, you got to give me your tracks, Chief. I played your track last week, man. I know you wasn't here, but I played it. That bad boy was going in. You and who was it? Udiel and Yirmiyahu. Is that right?
Yeah, Yirmiyahu, yeah.
Yirmiyahu, yeah, man. It was dope. You know, it was dope. Definitely need more tracks. For those that's listening in, man, we need more music, or y'all gonna be hearing a whole lot of tracks done by Shemata Miyahu, from Chief Zeb when he give it my way, and Yehudi Gang, man. That's all y'all gonna be hearing. Y'all don't send me more music, man. Y'all got me going on YouTube trying to find Israelite music, bro. This platform is for us. It's to, you know, spread everyone's music within the community, despite your theology, whatever you believe, you know, whether it's new and old or only Torah based or whatever it is. I just want to promote the Hebrew music. I think we need a platform for that. Might be the platform out there for it. I haven't seen it, but this is going to be the best radio platform. Yeah, conscious radio. Well, if it's not conscious, it's not acceptable. All right.
You know what we need, Aki?
What's that?
It would be so cool if we had if there was a platform, a platform like SoundCloud. Hebrews can put all of their music, all of nothing but Hebrew Israelite music, on their own platform like SoundCloud. Wouldn't that, yo, that would be dope.
It would. You know what? It was a platform that was put out, you know, and it also made a way to where you can make some money from it too. It was QStream, man, but you know, I won't get into all that, man. It was you know, the own platform for Hebrews, just like a SoundCloud, iTunes, or whatever, man, to where it was one central location to where all the Hebrews could be found. Boy, but we're not gonna get into that. QStream.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, you know, iTunes and Spotify, that's where Hebrew Israelite music lives.
Yeah, you know.
But in any event,
they you know, walked away, man, walked away. I'll play.
Oh, walked away.
Oh man, I'm playing. All right, man. So yeah. Is it anything else you want to, you know, bring out and speak on in regards to this topic, Chief? Anything else that we haven't tackled? Because I know it's a lot more.
Yeah, I mean,
but
right, it's kind of, you know, but I think that it's important that we understand that when someone quote unquote walks away or falls away from the Torah, you know, it's very easy to just simply cast them away and just be like, oh, nah, they were wicked. That's why they not, you know, and in many cases that could very well be the case. You know what I'm saying? They might be wicked as hell. Whatever. But that's not all the situations. You know, it's very, very often, you know, some of our people fall into the the Jeremiah chapter 20 situation. This is something else, and I'll just touch on that briefly. That's another aspect of the falling or walking away that that doesn't get treated in a lot of groups who may not be
man, this signal is,
you know, if you're going to the KJV. But from the very beginning of the chapter up to about we have a situation. Say it again.
Yeah, you breaking up, going in and out a little bit at this point. Last thing I heard you say, I'm not sure if the listeners heard. I know you said something about Jeremiah 20th chapter, and how that's something that's not really talked about or looked at often.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know you said you've been talking for at least.
Wow, can you hear me clear now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I don't know what's going on with this stream, man.
Wow. Yeah. And I'll just let me just keep it brief. And that you know, in Jeremiah 20, you know, you have a situation where the Most High sent Jeremiah or Yirmiyahu to the people, you know what I'm saying, to prophecy to them, and things didn't work the way that he anticipated. You know, he ended up getting locked up. They threw him in prison. They put, you know what I'm saying, they put yokes around his neck, had him all jacked up. And he goes on record to say, he's speaking to the Most High, and he said, "Yah, you deceived me, and I was deceived." And he goes on to say that, you know, that he's in derision daily. The people are mocking him. And so he's got, you know, so Yirmiyahu had gotten so frustrated because here he's supposed to be doing the will of the Most High, but the people have completely rejected him. They've mocked him. They've disrespected him. They ridiculed him, threw him in prison. And he goes on record and says, because of all of this, he said, "I will no longer speak in the name of the Most High."
Yep. That he did.
But of course, you know, he came to his senses and was like, "Hey, but the word was in me like, fine, I couldn't stay. I had to. So he got his head together, but what transpired with him is very important for us, because oftentimes you have a segment of the Israelite population that quote unquote falls away. They might fall away because of their frustration with the community, their frustration with certain things that they're seeing among among their people or whatever, and they may feel powerless to do anything about it. So this is enough, to make people become, disillusioned with everything that they've been dealing with. So it's not so much that they're walking away from the Torah or the truth. They're simply walking away, possibly from the people, walking away from the individuals that have created that issue that they're dealing with. So that's what I'm saying. So I say all of that, and you same thing, that these, this whole walking away or falling away it's not a black and white situation. There's many elements to why people do the things that they do. You know what I'm saying? Some people walk away because they were never in it to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Some people fall away because a particular doctrine became a stumbling block for them. They couldn't, something that they were taught and it made sense at the time, but then when they found out that that's not what the text really says, it uproots a lot of other things that they might have learned that was connected to that doctrine. So much stuff has to get torn down in order to repair it. And some people don't have the strength to start over.
Yeah.
So we could go on a whole other episode about this, but needless to say, when we come across individuals who have quote unquote walked away or fell away, we have to do our due diligence and do our research into these individuals' backgrounds. What caused this particular break? And paying close attention to the aftermath of their departure. Let's not get so caught up in the departure that we're not paying attention to the aftermath. The aftermath will tell you everything that you need to know.
That's right. And what I want to add to that, because I think that was a good way to segue out. We don't have to segue completely out, but I think this is a good time to. One of the things I want to add is, a lot of us, we don't have the patience. A lot of us in this, even the truth seekers, a lot of truth seekers don't have patience. And everyone is not at your level. These people that Chief was just speaking on could very well have been truth seekers and just had this moment, and the constant pounding and beating up on them for the simple fact of not having your understanding of what you believe to be true within your theology or within the culture. That constant beating on, man, can put people in that situation, and you very well could be the reason of it. And you think you're being righteous, or you think you're being right by doing that, but you're not doing. You're not even. You're not, or we aren't. I ain't gonna say you because I'm not even talking about a specific person, but that's not Torah. One of the foundations of Torah is community. When you really look at everything in Torah, it is serving the deity, Most High Yah, our creator, the creator of heaven and earth, of the universe, and also being a community. It's those two things. That's what I see.
Right.
That's what I see out of everything. Serving the Most High and the community. And by doing that with the community, you have to have a form of patience. Everybody doesn't have it. I wouldn't even say that everybody, I wouldn't even think or put pressure on myself to pressure someone else to, hey, have patience, have patience. All I could do is just encourage. But those that's watching this, if you're watching now, if you're watching later, just think about that. You know what I'm saying? Think about somebody that you might have encountered and you thought that they was, walking away or falling away, however, whatever terminology you use. I'm not saying to be their teacher. I'm not saying to, go out your way completely and all that. Everybody have their lives, but don't just write them off. Right. Don't just write them off, because that writing off can be the very thing that last straw for a person to leave, and that's your brother and that's your sister. And that's just my only advice there, man. That's all I got with this segment, man. It was a lot of good points brought out, great points brought out. This topic can be we could go through it be very intricate with it. We don't have that much time on that. We could talk for 4 or 5 hours. I'm not doing it. Shout out to Design Prospect and them that be doing that, boy, 4 or 5 hours now. I'm gonna make it short and sweet. People got short attention spans unless it is drama. If it's drama infused or long lectures, we don't have I'm not, don't have my little projector and all that stuff to be doing all that for you. But we just wanted to bring this out, man, talk about it a little bit, bring some the history involved with these terminologies, with this idea, with this concept, where some of it comes from and how we are amongst ourselves as people. And the fact that sometimes people always blame, I'm gonna say this last thing. Sometimes we look at our situation here in the United States and we say, well, we're like this because of this. But we went back into the Maccabees and saw that the same thing that we do today, they were doing then. The same thing. It's been going on forever. So the purpose of this episode today was to show that it is nothing new in regards to character and integrity and culture and things of that nature. And I ain't talking about technology. I'm just talking about that sense. It's nothing new under the sun. And with that, I yield. Chief, you got any closing remarks? I'm gonna play one song to take us out. Do you have anything else you want to say? Because I'm done.
There's a whole lot more, but now let's rock out.
Okay. We appreciate those of you that tuned in tonight, man. Go ahead and chill with us on the last song. It's gonna be another Yehudi, man. I'm trying to get some more songs, man. If y'all know any more Hebrew songs or artists that you like, please send it to me. Yah Conscience, like conscience, radio@gmail.com. Make sure you send it tonight. Yah Conscience radio @gmail.com, and I'll play it, man. But until then, you're gonna be getting my songs, some Zamir, Chief Zeb when he sent it to me, and some Yehudi gang. So that's what it is. Shalom to you all, man. Rock out with us on this last song. And I think Maccabee Ben Yisrael came up with this title, man. But it's Yod Hey Wah Hey Civiliter Mortus, or however you say that. Let's go.
Feel like I'm stranded in the sea. Sharks and snakes keeping me up. I had no choice but to get wise and to get humble. Come with more than just a number. I'm more than just a color. Keep it automatic loaded. Got no trust putting another from the gutter. I'm rocking with my brothers. I'm trying to connect the puzzle. Cause the money not stopping the struggle. All we been thinking is hustle. It ain't no elevation. Cause we crabbing in the bucket. It ain't enough dedicated to making something from nothing. Why love it? How can you not think of ways to get above it? We the focus, but they always change it to a different subject. I'm on the gas. I can control the past. Hold on to the present to make for certain the future past is real forever. Flower in the desert. See from concrete the foundation and the catastrophic weather. When departed, we the safe to keep the nation close together. If it ain't killing me, homie, you know it's making me better. I'm blessed with $1 million. I don't need no limits. Up permission, 30 minutes waiting for Satan's decision to do a certain type of living. Everything ordained, they prohibit because they know you who they running with it. They gon' make us come and get it. And I'm down for the cause, for the crown. All I got is gun rounds in my issue. It just sounded like a rapid sound of applause. Put the go and get the problem to solve. I'm back from the dead. Back from the dead.
Man, it feels so good being one with my arm. I wouldn't have it no other way. People looking at me strange, see the tassels on my garments like, man, dude, change. I sure did, cause I know who I am. Got a whole nother job, so I had to flip the name. Working for my daddy, yeah, we run a family business. He created everything, so you know I'm spoiled, man, but it don't come for free. I gotta obey, yes, rules to this life. Gotta do what he say. Keep the laws and commandments and do it out with joy, cause it really ain't a thing. One time for my nation, Quam Israel. Doing this work for the Father. 2 times for my King stuck in jail. This thinking, man, why even bother? We gonna build up this kingdom and start some community somewhere for you to escape to. Just milk and honey, no additives. We keep it pure with no mix-up. We don't do what they do. We set apart. Gotta get back to the culture. They wondering where we gon' start. Something gets hard, and it probably is, but we gotta do it. It's time to unpause. Cause it ain't true for us to be at the bottom. We the tail, supposed to be the head. But them the curses of our forefathers. Now we got a chance to live instead. Getting ready for these more demons. Amikra Kodesh Imish Party. Yahuwah Elohenu. Yahuwah Akkad. The only one that ain't no copy.
Am I making a living or taking a deal? If either may breaking my people, we breaking ourselves. We give the credit to ourselves for creating a dead. If we ain't got knowledge of power, we don't get the respect. Busy repping the said, follow Yehudi, we next. Treated the worst from a curse, but created the best. We got a beast, a gorilla, a Hebrew, they go iller. I'm shooting like you know, blocking not even from gold timbers. Messing from a bullet that they give you the cold shivers. Walking with your hopper, watch your enemies fold quicker. A chosen nation, still penetrating after 400 plus years of decapitations and still rising. Showing all the blinded, speaking to the deaf and waking up the dead. Perfect time, and I rhyme it to acknowledge and took it to acknowledgement. Dying for the most prominent, speaking to killing fraudulent, I'm meek. Back from the dead.